We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based.
Hi Mario, hi Surya, and hello everybody. Sorry for a very brief delay because of the technical glitch. First time it has happened, but nevertheless, thank you for listening to this. So, what do we have today, Mario and Surya?
Of course. So the first question is, at what point does an EB1A profile cross from technically eligible to strategically compelling in the eyes of USCIS?
Okay, I think it's a very beautiful question. I would like to say that because it's about at what point, just at being technical check boxes, meeting the boxes are not sufficient. I mean, that's what the whole idea is. Then how does it become the compelling in the eyes of USCIS? Remember, we are talking about a law here. We are talking about somebody being extraordinary at in the best of their field. I mean, you have to be at the top 1% or 10% best at the top of your field, and that's the whole idea actually here. Now, there is no checkbox again to measure a metric that something should be strategically compelling. In today's time, there are 6 critical areas for which it has been established that if you are, there is a difference between something called as a national interest and national priority. Now, being an extraordinary for the sake of being extraordinary, even being a globally competitive, is not sufficient. One also needs to be prioritized. I mean, one needs to be important for the state of the entire country of US. Actually, that's the first part. So, number one is your expertise. So, for example, number one is your expertise. Number two is that how niche is your expertise. That's the another point here. And what have you done? So, basically, I always like to say that if you have solved some problem that has impacted the maximum number of people, that is the best metric actually. Because while USCIS is establishing your expertise, and that's the whole idea and how it is beneficial to the US, definition of expert is not somebody who has a knowledge of something. Definition of expert is somebody who solves people's problem in that particular field of expertise. Do you understand the US related problems and have you been able to solve them actually? So if you can connect yourself to that, I think that would be one of the wonderful things to happen actually. So, I mean, one can keep on talking about one's expertise and somebody says he's a knowledgeable or something, but that is not going to be sufficient. I think the most test of sufficiency is that what is the degree of problem, how many people have been impacted by virtue of that. In today's world, especially the government has come out with a NSS, actually, a document that lays down the government agenda. And in that government agenda, it is very crystal clear that what is impactful for the US and what is not. So I would say that there is no hard metric to define it. But in your field of metric, for example, this is a very extreme example, but a good way to make a point. Somebody during COVID has been able to create a COVID vaccine. Now, it does not matter actually how much, who is the person, what time it took, what education qualification he had. The fact that he has been able to solve a problem for the country, that is good enough. So that's how it works actually. So, this is on a case-to-case basis. You cannot say technically eligible and strategic compelling. Strategic compelling is direct proportion to the national priority. There are 6 areas. If you fall into those 6 areas, then it is very, it becomes very compelling, I would say that. And I think that's what I have to say. So if there is a specific expertise, we can definitely reverse engineer what could be the success parameter for the USCIS could be to be qualifying for EB1A. That's for sure. Okay, let's move to the next.
Yeah, absolutely. So our next question, they ask, for candidates with prior EB2 and IW filings, what are the most common mistakes when transitioning to EB1A? I feel my profile is progressing well for EB1A, but how should I go about the transitional process towards it?
The first mistake that people do, they're thinking that this is transitional. That is the first mistake that people do. It is not at all transitional, it's totally independent. In EB2, you're very clear that you are trying to talk about only the perm is exempted, and because your job falls into national interest. Today, I'm already mentioned in the previous question that it is not a national interest that matters; it is about national priority. Now, the first mistake that people do is they think that it is just an extension of, I'm having EB2 and I want to upgrade it to EB1A. No, it doesn't work like that. One needs to be totally independent in this particular field, actually. It is a completely different paradigm shift, actually, here. So if you are able to think it from that perspective, then it is good. If not, I think it is not going to work, actually. So that is the first mistake. The second mistake is, try to fit yourself into the criteria. That's the second mistake. You don't have to fit into criteria. The criteria have to fit into your profile. I've said this almost a million times that, we have seen that somebody who has been working in, say, for 10 years, and we have definitely seen that there has been a lot of stuff, a lot of things that are kind of calibrating in his career, and looking it from the lens of the criteria, definitely the person realizes that he or she is much more closer to EB1A than one actually thought. So it's a realization that happens. So please don't think that this is just another upgrade or a transition. It's a completely independent. EB1A is a recognition to your work that you have been doing. Okay? It's not just trying to fit into the criteria. Okay, what is next?
For sure. The next question is, how do you balance independent expert letters with objective evidence so neither undermines the other? I have many who are willing to write laws that are high level in my company, but I'm afraid they may become distracting to my actual narrative.
Okay, I think there is a little confusion here. If somebody is writing from your company, then it would be only for the critical role. You don't need independent letters. To the best of my understanding, I don't think it is required for a critical role criteria if you're just trying to meet that, actually. Unless and until it is about your media article or something about this, because somebody who is independent cannot define metrics. That's a good point, actually, that you have raised. If somebody in the company is willing to write, how can it be disturbing to your narrative? I'm not very clear about it. I think the question is not very clear, or my understanding is not very clear in this, actually. Because the independent expert opinion could be for an article, could be for your scholarly article, could be for your media, could be for your awards, could be especially for your original contribution criteria. So I'm not very clear, but yes, there are different parameters and different frameworks that you can use for each of these criteria or the letters that need production. And you definitely need letters from three different kind of people: somebody who is very known to you as your job, or somebody who knows externally, and somebody who is completely independent. There are three different paradigms, actually, so you can't mix the two, and there are different purposes for which each of the letters serves its objective. So maybe we need a more clarity on this. So let's move to the next.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next question, they ask, I'm aware that the adjudicators will read the entire petition, but my question is, if USCIS could only read one section of a petition, which section would carry the most strategic weight and why?
It's a bit vague question, and we understand that there might be a paucity of time to assess an EB1A petition. Okay, that's definitely a paucity of time. And then we are trying to say that, okay, which section? So basically, what is your name should be your name to fame, or for which you should be known. That's the key part here, that you have to try to highlight it. You have to guide the adjudicator for which he or she should be going through the documents. Let's understand that. If you are able to do that, then only it makes sense. USCIS could read only. I always tell people that when you apply through a criteria, because the criteria are the lens to present your case, so you have to present as if each and every criteria is a petition by itself. That is for sure. But you know your job, you know your performance, that what has been the best, actually. So we should look at from that perspective. Okay? Yeah. So let's move to the next.
Okay, so the next question is, how do you decide when it's better to deepen existing criteria versus adding new one? I know this is a two-part, But is three criteria really enough, or should I go for more?
I mean, don't look at I think the biggest mistake that is happening here is that one is trying to fit into the criteria here, actually. So don't try to fit yourself into criteria. The question is, what is the depth of your initiative that you have done? Let's look at it this way. The law says that you should be a Nobel laureate, Oscar, or Olympiad. Now, basically, what is happening in this is that, let's say somebody gets a Nobel Prize. It means that all 10 criteria are collapsing into that Nobel Prize. Because it has original contribution into it, it already has a prize into it, it already has it. The question here is that, what have you done that should demand an attention of this degree? I mean, that's the whole part, actually. So it is not about, I have seen people with 3 criteria getting approved, somebody 4, 5, and also it depends on what evidences that you are bringing in to showcase that. So if you are able to show evidences, let us say, for example, you did something for your company that was accepted or adopted industry-wise across your competitors, everybody is talking about it, there was a showcase in the media, and showcase in a major media, then definitely it makes a difference to get that media, actually. Your name being published into it. Your company did a project for which you got the credit and your media also recognized it. Then if you can put your name into it, then that's wonderful, actually. So that's the way I would say it is, actually. So it all depends on the evidences that you are going to bring in. Okay?
Okay.
What's the next?
Yeah, absolutely. So our last question of the day, they ask, I don't currently have any publications, but I have 15 plus years of professional experience in the automotive industry where I've shown impact within my expertise. So my question is, what role does industry impact play compared to academic impact for non-traditional candidates?
It's a very wonderful question and a very straightforward response to this. When you say impact, what are the parameters and metrics for the impact, actually? Are you talking about others people adopted your technology? Is it about patent? Is it about licensing of patent? What exactly? When you say impact is not something it is a superficial word, actually. Impact is measured by qualitative metrics or quantitative metrics. So what are those metrics? We need to assess that. And once it is done, I think that's the way it will be. Okay. So it's pretty safe. So thank you very much, guys. So if you have your own questions, please, kind of write to us. And if you want to join the program, please reach to Syria, Mario, and I. The link would be given below in the comments. We are very happy to help you and wish you all the best from your EB1A journeys. Wonderful. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any further questions or need personalized guidance, please reach out to us. We are here to help you every step of the way in your journey towards achieving your American dream. Let's connect and make it happen together.